Welcome back to the class. This is a continuation of the previous video. So for those of you who are watching this for the first time, please refer to the previous videos on this playlist for you to understand where we're coming from up to this point. Alright, so let's get right in. So we are going to create a birthday poster next, and the entire processes previously were to show you and to educate you about photo cropping in Photoshop. Alright, so to proceed with the creation of the birthday poster, we're going to do something called converting to smart object. Now, your images or your layers on Photoshop can take two basic forms. They are either a raster file or a smart object. A smart object preserves pixel information of your layer or object, whatever you're converting to a smart object. Basically, it preserves pixel information. So that is what having a smart object means. You're preserving pixel information. A raster file in Photoshop basically means you are not preserving pixel information. So just look at it as what an opposite. Raster file, you are not preserving pixel information. That means you can lose pixel information. You can lose quality when you expand and contract. Basically, what that means is, let me just quickly show you an example of what that means. So I'm going to duplicate this layer, Ctrl J, like we all know now. I'm going to make this layer below a red eye, and basically you can see this eye right here. I use that to make a layer invisible or visible. So let me just do that so you can see visible, invisible. So let's assume I don't want to see this layer right now, and I don't want to work with it right now, so I just want to make it invisible so that I can focus on this layer. So I'm going to call this use 2. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try stretching this picture right now, and then I'll stretch it out and then stretch it back in, and then I want you to observe what is going to happen when I do that closely. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit right now. So let's go back just one. Okay, great. So let me go ahead and stretch it out. So to do that, I'm going to hit Ctrl T. Ctrl T brings up the transformation controls. Transformation basically allows you to scale your image horizontally, vertically, or uniformly. Also allows you to perform some other activity like skewing, warping, and things like that. Okay, so in subsequent videos I'll be using those terms, skewing, warping, in some of the designs that we're making, so you can also learn how to perform those actions on Photoshop. So I'll just go right ahead and expand this image. Now, because I'm zoomed in, I cannot see all the edges of this transformation box right now. So I'm going to just do something. So when you look up right here, you see this icon like a chain, right? So click on that chain. By clicking on that chain, you are linking the height and the width. That means you have locked the aspect ratio, meaning that anything I do to the height will affect the width uniformly. So there will not be a time where my image is looking strange. Let me give you an instance. Sometimes you see people trying to stretch something out and they do something like this. You see, that is wrong. You've just deformed the entire image. So, and that's because I don't have my aspect ratio locked, so I can just deform the image in the name of stretching it out. So what you want to do is to have this chain icon here clicked so that you lock the aspect ratio. Now watch what's going to happen when I stretch this out. Uniform stretch. Let me see that it went back to the initial deformity I had because I did a Ctrl Z. So let me just do all that all over again. I'm not going to link the height and the width, I'll just do it all over again. This time I'm going to play around with the width. Just watch what happens. See that? Now let me do a uniform scale so you can see what happens. Can you see that? Uniformly scaling. Alright, so back to what I was talking about in raster file and smart object. So I'm going to transform this image by hitting Ctrl T and then linking the height and the width. So let me go ahead and expand it. Let's expand it very much. Great. Now I'm going to shrink it back down again, and I wanted to notice something that happens when I do that. So let's just go ahead and just drag this all the way down. So I've dragged it down now. Okay, and I'm going to try to expand it up to our view. Great. So what do you observe? You can see that this image is blur right now. It's blur. It's a raster file and it's blur. The reason it has become blur is because we have lost pixel information. That's because it is not a smart object. We are not preserving pixel information by leaving it as a raster file. So let me just make this invisible and show you the original file. So can you see a clear difference? Let me put this side by side so you can see that. Can you see a clear difference between these two? I have not done anything to this original picture yet. I have not shrunk it, nothing. So it still looks sharp. Both of them are raster files, by the way. So I've not even converted anyone to a smart object. Both of them are raster files, but we did an action on this one. We scaled it out and brought it back down multiple times, just like once or twice, and then we've seen that pixel information has been lost. So this is very important for you as a graphic designer to know, because every design you're creating ends up becoming a picture, a JPEG file or a PNG file, but basically an image, something that people can view as an image. When you are dealing with your designs and you're treating them as raster files, basically what you're doing is reducing the quality of your work. And you can see that I've just shown you that through this image right here. You can see how badly damaged it is. So let's now look at what happens when you have a smart object that you expand and contract. So I'm just going to duplicate this, hitting my Ctrl J. I'm going to left click and convert to smart object. Then I'm going to perform the same action we did on the raster file. So I want you to watch closely. So I can easily impute values right here without having to drag anything. So this is another thing you can get to learn. So let me just increase this up to 2000 for instance. Great. So I've stretched this out to the point where the pixels of this image are showing. So you can see those tiny blocks right there. These tiny blocks right here, these are pixels. Those tiny blocks are called the pixels, and those are the things that carry the information of this image. They carry the color, everything that has to do with this image. That's where the pixel information is locked. So that's what you're preserving. Great. So you saw what just happened, right? Because I've zoomed in, I zoomed it to 2000%. Great. So now I'm going to take it back down, hitting my transform, Ctrl T, lock down the aspect ratio. So I'm now going to take it down to let's see. Okay, my system is a little slow at the moment, so let's see. I want to take it down to 100 and let's see what happens. Okay, 100. All right. Okay, so I wanted to look at this image. Do you see quality is not lost? So I performed the same action on the initial image. So let's look at the two of them and let's compare the both of them. So can you see I did the same action on the two images and basically we achieved two different results. Why? Because this is a smart object and we preserved pixel information by making it a smart object before doing any expansion or contraction. And this one on the other hand lost quality because we did not perform that action of preserving the pixel information before doing any further activity on the image. So this is something that you need to know is so important because it cuts across all your graphic design, as even goes into typography, goes into your printing, it cuts across different parts of your graphic design. The moment you're dealing with your files as a raster file, you should convert them into a smart object to be able to retain quality. Very important. All right, so in the next video we're going to go right in and start making our birthday poster. So stay tuned and keep watching. Thank you.